should be one in the pew in front if there's not one there. The scripture will be on the screen for you. Luke chapter 4, verses 14 through 21. When you get there, just say amen. Amen. If you're not there yet, say hold on. Luke chapter 4, verses 14 through 21. Let us hear the word of the Lord. Then Jesus, filled with the power of the Spirit, returned to Galilee, and a report about him spread through all the surrounding country. He began to teach in the synagogues and was praised by everyone. When he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." And he rolled up the scroll, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. The eyes of all the synagogue were fixed on him. Then he began to say to them, "Today this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing." May the Lord bless the readers, hearers, and the doers of his most blessed word. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, our Creator and our Sustainer, we indeed thank you, Lord, for the chance to sit at your feet to hear your word. We ask, O Lord, you send your Spirit into this your place. Let it reverberate in our hearts and minds, O God, the word that will be preached. So much so, God, that when we leave from this place, we will be different than how we were when we came in. So, God, as I pray in your Son, Jesus Christ's name, amen. For a few moments, I want to focus on this 4th chapter, Luke, verses 14 through 21, with this theme: God restores us through Jesus. God restores us through Jesus. There are many illustrations that one can use to describe the relationship between God and his creation. But looking at God as the potter and we as the clay is one that I have found is very useful and very informative. In this illustration, it is clear that the potter has put much time and effort into forming the clay. So much so that when the clay suffers disfigurement, it is only the potter who can restore the clay to its former shape. The image of the potter and clay also is important because it says to us that each one of us has been in the master's hand individually. We are not assembly line creations, but rather each one of us was carefully crafted by our potter. But the effect of sin on humanity was a disfigurement. And there was no mechanism that we could employ of our own strength that could restore ourselves. It was only the original potter who possessed in his hands the power to restore and reshape us. And when Jesus came into our world, it was to begin the process of restoration. Jesus could have simply been born and lived out some other place and then died for the sins of all humanity, but instead he chose to live among us, to walk among us, to teach us, to cry with us, to laugh with us, and in doing so, he showed humanity God's genuine concern for their restoration. And if we don't recognize the truth of God's restorative nature, we risk walking around in this world in a less than restored condition. Luke gives us 3 points about the restorative nature of God that will help us remember that God restores us through Jesus. The first point is this: he gives freedom to burdened souls. Verse 18 says, he has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, Jesus gives us freedom for our burdened souls, and many times we don't realize the kind of burdens we carry. We carry burdens of guilt for things that we have done that God has forgiven us for, but we have not forgiven ourselves. We walk around and we still think about those things. We walk around and we still wonder if God is going to let us be blessed. But God has forgiven us because we asked for forgiveness. God gave forgiveness, but we still carry around this burden of that guilt. We carry the burden of missed opportunity when we took one course of action and didn't take another course of action. And we'll spend countless hours, days, and sometimes weeks thinking about what could have been if we made a different decision. We lay awake, sleepless at night, wondering, what if I had done the other thing? What if I had gone the other way? What kind of situation would I be in if I had not chosen the course of action that I did choose? That's a burden. We carry the burden of words we have spoken in anger, and we wonder if others will forgive us. We carry a lot of burdens, and all of them weigh us down. And these burdens are what Jesus was referring to when he said, "Come to me, all of you who are heavy burdened, and learn of me. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus was wanting people to listen. And he also wants you and I to listen. And also to read the scripture and let go of those things that we carry around and mean us no good. You know, you can worry yourself to the point of getting sick. You can sit and think about something. You can think about it all day at work. Don't get your job done. You can go home thinking about it and end up getting yourself physically sick because you have worried about something that you have no control over because it's already done. You can worry about a job and lose sleep over it. If you fill the application out right, how'd you do in the interview? Are they going to call me back? It's been 2 weeks. Has the job been filled? I went online. The job's been closed. I called a friend. The job hadn't been filled, but they haven't called me back yet. I don't know what I'm going to do. You can worry yourself about a job and worry yourself till you are sick. You can worry about a test that you have taken and cause literal ulcers to form in your stomach. Did I get all the answers right? Did I fill out all the questions? I wonder what the professor's going to say. Is he going to give me a good grade or a bad grade? You cannot change the answer to the test. Isn't that amazing when you think about it? There's no way that you can mentally, if you can, let me know, get the pencil to dance into the next room, erase the answer that you've written, and write the right answer on the test. After the test has been answered, it has been turned in. You cannot do anything about a new answer, and so worrying about it won't do you any good. You can cause rashes on your skin, your hair to gray prematurely, or your hair to decide it's going to leave altogether. Amen. I used to have a lot of hair. I started worrying. This is what's left. Amen. All of these outward signs point to something happening on the inside. But Jesus says he's come to proclaim release to those who are captive by what has been burdening them down. He's come to proclaim you are free. You don't have to be burdened down by what happened yesterday. You don't have to be burdened down about the possibility of the job. You don't have to be burdened down about the possibility of not getting a house. You don't have to carry those burdens because your burdens are going to weigh you down, and that's not the life that Jesus wants you to have. If you study for the test and now the test is over, worrying can't change any of the answers. If you heard God say step out on faith and you trust him to keep his word, worrying won't change anything and speed anything up. You need to know that worry doesn't come from God. Worry doesn't come from God. Jesus even said, look at the lilies of the valley, how they toil and spin. Our Heavenly Father takes care of them and they don't make any effort. How much more will he take care of you? You need to worry the word is going to come from God. And you've been given release from the spirit of worry. Worrying is a spirit. You can be going along your day, have everything right ahead of you, and somebody drops some worry into your spirit and it will ruin your day. You can be on your job, having walked from your desk to the water cooler, and somebody else said, I think the supervisor said that you might be in the group that's going to be fired. Now you're going to worry all day. And you might worry yourself into bad performance all because of what somebody said. Worrying is a spirit that's not of God. So Jesus says, listen, I've come to proclaim release to those who are captive by their word. I've come to proclaim release to those who are burdened down by worrying about so many things they don't have need to worry about. God wants to restore you to a place where you walk in joy, where you walk in peace, where you walk in calmness and serenity. He wants to restore you to a place where you have confidence that God knows exactly where you are right now. Whatever situation you have in your life, God knows exactly where you are right now. At 11:18 a.m., God knows exactly where you are. God knows what's going to happen tomorrow. He knows what's going to happen next week. He knows what's going to happen 10 years from now, 50 years from now. God knows everything that will come into our lives. And so God says to us, don't worry about things you have no control over. Because all worry is going to do is cause you to be heavy burdened and heavy laden. And that's not the yoke that Jesus has for us. The second thing that reminds us that God restores us through Jesus, he removes our spiritual blindness. All too often we are blind to what God expects of us and what he equipped us with in order that we do what he expects. This happens, and sometimes frustration can set in, and we can spiral into a place of not caring about doing the will of God. Verse 18 says this, he also has come to proclaim recovery of sight to the blind and to let the oppressed go free. We can be blinded by our belief that our actions are right just because we are believers in Jesus. Yeah, sometimes we think that just because we believe in God, just because we come to church on Sunday, just because we come to Bible study on Wednesday, just because we're in an auxiliary, that everything that we do is right because we are following Jesus. Everything has to be right that we do, but we have to constantly measure our actions by the precepts of Jesus. We can be blinded by our belief that we can do something or say something that we know is wrong because God will forgive us. That's called premeditated sin. When you think about it, you say, well, Jesus died for my sins, and if I don't sin, his death was worthless. And so let me go ahead and let more grace abound. Because God will forgive me for what I'm about to do. You know, we think about these things. We rationalize in our mind that it's okay because God will forgive us. And we get blinded by these things because we think that just because Jesus died for our sins, it's a license to sin. Insurance is there if you happen to have the accident. Insurance is there if you happen to get sick. Having car insurance is not licensed to drive recklessly. Amen. You can't just pull in front of cars and I got insurance, it's going to be all right. No. Same thing with forgiveness of sins. It's not a license to sin. But we can be blinded by the fact that since Jesus died, we should let grace abound more by sinning more. These are excuses that we use to justify our actions. We can even be blinded into thinking that we are living the life God wants us to live because we aren't sinning as much as somebody else. look at other people's lives and say, well, at least I'm not doing what they're doing, and so I must be doing the right thing. At least I'm not as bad off as they are, so I must be doing the right thing. God says we must each measure our lives by his life and not by somebody else's. Jesus came to live and walk among us to restore our sight. He came to lift the scales off of our eyes. He came to show us the beauty in obeying God's word. There's a beauty in obeying God's word. There's a beauty in doing the right thing. There's a beauty in not sinning. There's a beauty in obeying God's word. Jesus came to show us the beauty in forgiving someone who has done something wrong to you. There's beauty in forgiveness. There's beauty in looking beyond somebody else's faults. There is beauty in looking and saying, I was a sinner and God forgave me because they've done wrong. I'm going to forgive. There's beauty in doing that. There's a beauty that he wants to show us. He wants to show us that the power of love is greater than the weakness of hate. Anybody can hate and hold a grudge. It doesn't take any effort at all. The real strength comes when you love and look beyond the shortcomings of others. He also came to show us the beauty of cheering for someone else to win. There's a beauty in cheering for somebody else to win. Last week we got sworn in at the state capitol, and members on the Senate were doing their thing. Those of us in the House were preparing to vote for a new speaker. And I was supposed to get a chairmanship of a committee if I voted the right way. I didn't vote the right way. But after the assignments were read, a friend of mine did vote the right way. He got a chairmanship. But after the assignments were read, I called him and I congratulated him. I called him and I said I was proud of him and I was happy because we haven't had a Democratic chair in 8 years. And he's the first one we had. And I called him up and I said, listen, man, I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. Do well in your position. In the conversation, he thanked me because others had walked right past him. Others had refused to speak to him. Others had refused to congratulate him because they thought that something else was going on. They thought there was some collusion going on for his vote. But I was able to cheer because Jesus came to give me recovery of my sight. There's a beauty in being able to cheer for someone genuinely to win, even though you're in the same race. There's a beauty in being able to say that God has enough for everybody, and just because somebody else gets some doesn't mean I'm not going to get anything. There's a beauty in saying you can win and I don't have to lose. There's a beauty in saying all of us can win, and when one of us shines, all of us shine. There's a beauty in being happy for somebody else, and oftentimes we lose that joy because the enemy comes into our lives and convinces us that you have to lose in order for me to win. He lies to us and tries to convince us that you have to be down in order for me to be up. But Jesus said he came to proclaim freedom from those burdens, but more than that, recover the sight of our eyes so we can see. You ought to want to love somebody enough to cheer for them, even though you might not get it. You ought to be happy if somebody else wins. You ought to rejoice. The best display of Jesus' love is in pee-wee football and basketball. Those kids don't care who wins. They just want to run up and down the field, up and down the court. The score is always low. And the folks who are upset are the parents. But the kids just running, and after the game, they're still happy. Because all they wanted to do was play the game. They weren't concerned about winning. To them, winning, watch this, winning was being in the game. What would it be like if we changed our view on life and said winning is just about being in the game? I don't have to win the game, let me play the game. I don't have to be the winner all the time. Somebody has to lose, but if all of us say we can all win, no one has to walk away ashamed. That's what Jesus came to show us. That's what God came to restore in us, is our sight, to know that everybody can win. Finally, he gives favor to our chosen path. Verse 19 says, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. One of the realities of life is that into every life some rain must fall. Every day will not be sunny. And we have to learn how to see God's favor even in the disappointing things of life. Did Jesus want to feel the agony of all of our sins? No. He didn't, but he knew we needed him to feel it in order for us to be free. Did Jesus want to feel the disappointment of friends who denied knowing him? No. But again, he knew that was a part of life. Did Jesus want to feel the pain of his own creation trying to kill him? No. And yet, in all of that, he was walking in God's favor. Well, you say, well, how was he walking in God's favor when all those negative things were happening to him? This morning, you and I are here because we are walking in God's favor. Our lives may not be exactly what we want them to be. There may be some areas that we need improvement in. We may want a better job, a better car, or to pay off the one we have. We may want to hear back from God about the thing we've been praying for. But whatever the case is, we are still walking in God's favor. When King Saul was chasing David, because he wanted to kill David, because he feared that David was going to get the hearts and minds of the people, Saul said, if I just kill him, I'll remove the threat and the pressure of David being king. When Saul was chasing David, David was still walking in God's favor. It may be hard to see because oftentimes we focus on what we don't have instead of what we do have. But I want you to place emphasis on what is not happening to David instead of what you fear will happen to him. When Saul was chasing David, David was never killed. Every time he chased him, David still survived. Every time he tried to kill him, David still was victorious. Every time he set traps for him, David escaped the trap. So it's not so much about what we fear David may have gone through, but look at what David did not go through. David wasn't killed. His men weren't killed. David wasn't harmed. His men weren't harmed. But most importantly, David was still going to be king no matter what Saul did. So David was yet walking in God's favor because whatever God has for you, nobody can stop what God has for you. Every day you wake up, you're walking in God's favor. Even in his dilemma, David was still walking in God's favor. Do not let the enemy convince you that today you are not in God's favor. You are favored by God in this season called 2019. And I want you to walk boldly in your favor of God. Walk confidently in your favor of God. Walk assured in your favor of God because God has woken you up this morning. God still has blood running through your veins. God still has air pumping through your lungs. God still has you moving around and knowing who you are. God has called and proclaimed that this is your year of favor. This season is your season. Don't let the enemy come into your mind and say, you're not favored because you don't have this, because you don't have that. You're not favored because you're lacking these things. Everything you may be lacking, God can restore because God is a restorer of those who are broken down. You're walking in God's favor today because God has quickened your spirit this morning and God has called you to come here today and God is going to restore you tomorrow also. Don't let the enemy convince you that you are not being favored by God. But instead declare that this is the year that God will favor me. Every day you wake up, declare, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. This is the month that God will repair the breaches in my life, and I will be glad about what God is going to do. This is the year that God is going to give me back everything that the enemy has stolen from me, and I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. You got to wake up expecting something from God. You got to wake up believing that God has something great for you. You can't just lay and wallow in your pity and your depression. You got to get up like you serve a great God that you preach about, that you sing about, that you pray about. If you serve a big God, expect big things from him. I voted the wrong way. Still got 2 good committees. God came up to me and said, you know, you got more than you deserve. I said, yeah, I thank the Lord for it. Because it wasn't about who on this earth was going to bless me. It's not about who on this earth is going to bless you. But it's about the fact that the one who is always blessed you is going to still be the one who is always going to bless you. It's not about what people say, but what God has declared in your life. And if God has declared in your life that you are blessed, then you are blessed. And He has. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has sent me to preach freedom to those who are captive, restore the sight of those who are blind, and proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. It's not too late. We're just 1 month in. You can still proclaim the favor of God in your life this year. Maybe it's for your grandchildren. Maybe it's for your nieces and nephews. Maybe it's for your cousins. Maybe you don't want favor for yourself, but you want favor for them. Proclaim and accept and declare that favor for their lives also. Because what we see is this. When you are walking in God's favor, those around you will be blessed also. You need to restore in their lives the faith and confidence that God has not forgotten about them. And God knows exactly where they are. The doors of the church are open now. Let us stand. There may be one here who wants to walk in the confidence that God has restored you, that God will remove the scales off of your eyes, that God will do exactly what He said He would do. This is your chance to come down now. If the choir sings, to either join church or to give God your hand and come down for prayer. This is your chance today. So you open the doors of the church and the choir sings.